Hey guys, so as you can tell by the title, this video is going to be dealing with some pretty heavy stuff. Um, this is going to be a pretty difficult video for me, but I just feel like now is a good time to get a lot of stuff off my chest that I've been suppressing for a really long time, and it's kind of scary, but uh, I'm just gonna go for it. So I am 21 years old. I have no friends, and I have social anxiety disorder. So, social anxiety is something I've dealt with pretty much my whole life. I would say it started getting really bad when I was in middle school. Like, when I was in elementary school, I was a really talkative kid, and I had a bunch of friends, and, we'd hang out, and, it was elementary school. We'd just play Mario, and we'd play Pokemon together, and we'd play sports together, and life was simple. So, life was good back then. Um, so yeah, I did have friends back then, but when I got to middle school, I moved away from all those people, lost all those connections basically immediately. And when I got to middle school, there was it was just so like there was no support network for me as a kid, as an 11-year-old kid, and I was hopeless. Like my social anxiety really started to kick in, and I was just so afraid to talk to people. I was so afraid people would judge me just like saying hello to them. I was afraid they would judge me, so I just wouldn't say anything. And quickly people started to start asking me like, "Hey, why don't you talk?" And I would just like freeze up. My face would turn like bright red, and I would always do like this. Like I don't know, like I wouldn't actually say anything, but and it was scary because I didn't know what was wrong with me. I didn't know why I had so much trouble talking to people. It was confusing, and it made me sad, as a confused 11-year-old kid. And it got worse when people started asking me like, "Hey, why don't you talk? Why don't you talk?" Because it's like it feels like they're starting to judge me, and they think I'm weird, and they think I'm just like a friendless loser, and it was terrible. So I basically went through the first couple years of middle school, sixth and seventh grade, with no friends whatsoever. I had acquaintances basically playing basketball after school for fun, and that was about it. But I didn't even fit in with those people. Like I just never fit in with anyone. Like I remember, after school we'd play basketball together, and I'd kind of just be there, and it would kind of be fun. But I wanted to, start making some friends, and it didn't really feel like any of those people wanted to be friends with me. I felt like, and it felt like they already had their own friend groups because where I'm from, uh, the people in elementary school go to the same middle school and then they go on to the same high school. I was not going to elementary school with those people though, so I did not have those connections, and it was like people already had their own little friend groups from elementary school. So I was just kind of on an island by myself trying to figure it out, and I just wasn't good at it because I had such horrible social anxiety. So in eighth grade, things started to pick up for me a little bit. Like it was definitely better for me than sixth and seventh grade because there was this one kid who, seemed to understand what I was going through. And, for the first time, it felt like someone understood me. And that was an incredible feeling, obviously. And I thought I was going to be really good friends with this kid because, he would go out of his way to, invite me into his friend group. Like we would play. He was one of the kids I was playing basketball with, but the first couple of years that I played basketball with those people, like they never really seemed to get along with me. Like I would be there and I would play basketball with them, but once it was over, they would all just go home and hang out with their own friends and their own friend groups. But this one kid, he was like he went out of his way to try to talk to me, and he was like, I remember, he used to tell me like, you're actually a really outgoing, good dude. Like, why don't you talk more? And you know, there was just a different level of comfort, talking to him than the other people who asked me why I didn't talk more because it seemed like he was genuinely like concerned about me, and it seemed like he really like wanted to be my friend, and And he really like went out of he went out of his way to like invite me into his friend group and invite me into their conversations and stuff. Even though I still wouldn't say much because social anxiety, but this was like the first real friend I felt like I might have. Another thing that happened for me in eighth grade was I started to have more of an online presence. So this was around 2012, 2013. So this was when, Facebook was still relevant and still kind of a thing. So, I made a Facebook, and immediately what I realized was that I felt way more comfortable like expressing myself and saying things on Facebook and on social media than I did to people in person, because the thing I was so scared of with my social anxiety was that face to face talking and talking to people in person. But online, it felt like there was more of a sense of comfort that I had to just kind of say whatever. And what ended up happening was I started expressing myself more online, and people started, seeing me for who I am instead of this person in person, this person in person, who I was being, and I wasn't being myself in person. I was wearing like 10 different masks, trying to, avoid people seeing who I really am. When I started showing who I really am online, people started to like me, and people started to, be genuinely interested in hanging out with me and wanting to know more about me. I remember also, on this channel, it was in like 2013. You can go check out the video. I still have it up. I made this video where it was me like sinking like a half-court shot playing basketball in my driveway, and I remember it made me like the biggest name in like the whole school in eighth grade. Like it was pretty lit. And suddenly, so all these people all of a sudden were like asking me like, "Hey, why don't you talk in person? Like you have this really cool outgoing presence online. Why don't you do this in person?" And I was just so like, I was happy. Like I was happy that people were interested in me now, and genuinely interested in getting to know me. But I was also like, I was really intimidated by it. I was like, whoa, I don't know if I can deal with all this attention. And I felt like I was getting close to making friends. But the problem was I still had social anxiety. I still couldn't talk to people in person. I was still just so afraid that if I started talking to people, I would say something really stupid and they would judge me, and they would think I'm a freak and a weirdo and a loser, and they would, just stop talking to me. So I kind of just, when people would talk to me, all I would do, they would ask me questions, I would be like, or I would be like, or I would be like, that was how I would communicate with people, because I had such bad social anxiety, and my self-esteem was just so low, and I just did not feel comfortable saying much of anything to people, or talking to people about like I hated talking to people about myself, like because I just had such low self-esteem, because I felt like I had no friends, and I felt like I was a loser, and I felt like if I tried talking to people about myself, they would realize like how much of a loser I am. That's just how I felt, because my self-esteem was just so, low. Things kind of just went way downhill for me my first 2 years of high school. I stopped using social media pretty much because what happened was other people were getting more likes than me, and that was making me feel bad about myself, and it just became such a toxic environment for me, social media, because I felt like, all these people are more popular than me, and they're better looking, and they have better lives going on. And so I just stopped using social media pretty much. I stopped posting stuff on there. And pretty much once I stopped using social media is around the time when people kind of stopped talking to me again, because I wasn't talking to them in person, and I wasn't saying anything on social media. So once again, I was kind of just crawling back into my shell. And I don't think people really, people didn't really want to make any effort to communicate with me at that point, because they felt like I just wasn't making any effort to communicate with them. And I guess they were right, but it was just my social anxiety was just so bad, and I just could not make any friends. And the only person I was still interacting with pretty much was that one kid who, in eighth grade started to talk to me and started to, get to know me and wonder, why I wasn't talking. And one kid who kind of saw me for who I really am. And like I remember when we had lunch in high school, I would just go sit wherever he was sitting. And if I didn't have the same lunch period as him, I would have like nowhere to sit. I would have no idea where to sit. Sometimes I would just go to like the computer lab and like go on like the YouTube or whatever because I just had no one else to talk to or hang out with other than that one kid pretty much. Like I just did not really feel comfortable with hanging out with anyone else. So socially, most of high school was pretty horrible for me actually. Um, I never got invited to any parties. I would just go home every day after school and stare at my computer. Um, I had basically no friends. The one friend that I've been talking about that I did have was, I never really developed a closer friendship with him because of my social anxiety. I was just so scared to be more open with him. So like I would hang out with him and, I would, be in the same realm as him, but I also wasn't exactly in the same realm of him as him, if that makes any sense, because I wasn't, communicating enough. And, they say you got to give in order to receive, and I was not giving enough in that friendship. So we never really got a deeper friendship because of my social anxiety and because I was so scared to talk and talk more. I would only reveal like little bits and pieces of me, and I just think that prevented us from ever becoming really, really close as friends. And I'm not saying that when I was in high school I got like bullied a lot or people were really mean to me, but like honestly, people didn't really give a shit about me in high school for the most part because I didn't really talk much. I didn't really. I was kind of just there. You know what I mean? Like I didn't really fit in anywhere. I was just there. I was just there like playing basketball after school. And that was pretty much it. Like that was all people pretty much knew me for. And they knew me for never talking and being like the quietest kid in the school. That's pretty much what I was known for. And in some ways, it's actually even worse to have no one and just be completely ignored than to be bullied. I'm not saying being bullied is good because being bullied is a horrible thing. But what I'm saying is that when you have no one to talk to, and people who've gone through this, I think can relate to this, when you have absolutely no one to talk to and no one you can turn to talk about your problems and just enjoy life with and be friends with and hang out with, when you have no one like that, I don't know if there's a lot of feelings that are worse than that. It is truly a feeling of despair, a feeling of hopelessness. And, I've felt that pretty much every here and there for the last 10 years, basically, because for the last 10 years, I basically haven't had any friends. So, one of the few times that I felt like I might have actually had friends briefly was my senior year of high school. So this was after getting cut from the basketball team multiple times, which, made my self-esteem drop even further. I said, fuck it, senior year of high school, I'm going to join the football team. I have never played any organized football before. I don't care. This might be my last chance to make some friends. And, I was a little nervous about it, but I was like, you know what, this is definitely the right decision. And it ended up being one of the best decisions I've ever made. Like, those people right away welcomed me with open arms, and they were embracing me, you know what I'm saying? And it was amazing because it felt like I was finally getting accepted. And it felt like I was finally, around a group of people who cared about me. And, like, the team did really well. And it didn't even really matter to me. I didn't play much or whatever. That wasn't even that important to me. Like, just being around that team and having some crazy experiences with those people, like, that was some of the best few months of my life. July through, like, beginning of November 2016. By the way, 2016 was a great year, unlike 2020. So, football ends. Those people that I met on the football team who meant a lot to me. And I don't think those people realize to this day, like, how much they meant to me. Like, they really picked me up when I was in, like, a really dark place. But unfortunately, pretty much all of those people slowly just drifted and drifted away. Like, after high school graduation, everyone went their separate ways, went to their colleges, and, for me, it was like, I was just losing all those connections, and I felt like I was starting over again, which I did not really want to do at that point, because it felt like, man, I'm starting to make some friends, and once again, no friends, nothing. And that summer ended up being the last time I saw that one kid who, was my friend, first friend I had in where I grew up back in 8th grade, you know what I'm saying? And he ghosted me after that summer. He actually ghosted the entire neighborhood that I grew up in, which is, to this day hurts me because, it was some very personal stuff that, he went through. And I'm not going to get into that in this video, but, it hurts me to this day that I wasn't there for him more and I wasn't able to help him more through that personal stuff that he went through. But again, I'm not going to get into that in this video. I mean, I will just say that the pain I still feel from not being able to help him through the stuff he was going through, that I didn't even realize he was going through, is, to this day, it's pretty fucking unbearable, to be honest. So some of you might be thinking, hey, college should have been like a nice fresh start for you to, figure it all out, find a new group of people, find a new group of friends, figure it out. Except I messed that up too. Because my first 2 years of high school, which I talked about before being really shit, they were really shit in multiple ways. One of those ways was I got awful grades because I was pretty, I wouldn't say completely depressed, but I was definitely pretty down on myself because I wasn't making any friends, and, I got cut from the basketball team, I already told you, and just a combination of factors led to me just like not trying at all to do well in school. And so sophomore year, I failed English and math, which is like almost impossible, but I pulled it off. And so basically, even though I was able to turn my grades around in junior and senior year and the summer after my sophomore year when I made up those two classes, it just wasn't enough to reverse what I did my freshman and sophomore year. So I wasn't able to get into my dream school, which was Syracuse University. So I had to pick from limited options. I ended up going to University of Arizona, which is a nice school and all, but it isn't where I wanted to be. And, I did not make any friends. Once again, I did not make any friends when I was there. Just like pretty much everywhere else I've been since like 6th grade, I wasn't making any friends. And to me, my goal that year was just get straight A's and get out of here. Get to Syracuse, like transfer over to Syracuse, which is where I really wanted to be. And I actually managed to pull that off because, here, Otto the Orange, if you know anything about Syracuse, Otto is that dude. But yeah, I'm at Syracuse now. I'm a senior at Syracuse now. You fast forward to now, I did get straight A's that year, and I did transfer over to Syracuse for my sophomore year. So I had like this new level of confidence going into my sophomore year at Syracuse. Like I felt like, wow, I got straight A's after, look how far I've come in a few years. I was failing math and English my sophomore year of high school. Now I'm getting straight A's and going to my dream school. This is great. And I had this new level of confidence, and I was like, I'm going to start making friends now. I'm going to overcome, I'm going to overcome my social anxiety. I'm going to pull this off. I just had this new energy. I felt so good. It didn't work out that way. I got to Syracuse and, people had already joined their frats and sororities and all that. And I was just, I was on an island by myself again. And I didn't really know who to turn to. It would have been nice if I was there my freshman year and been in like a freshman dorm and gotten to like meet people that way. But, when you're a transfer student, people who are transfer students know this experience. It's hard to meet people. It really is. Because, everyone already met like their tight group of friends their freshman year, and whether it's in the dorms, whether it was joining a frat, and I just wasn't able to do any of those things. So I just, I don't know. I thought maybe when I got there, I'd be able to join a few clubs and I'd meet people that way, and it didn't happen. My sophomore year pretty much consisted of me going to class, making acquaintances but not actual friends, playing basketball at the rec center, eating by myself every day, which I still pretty much do. I mean, I guess some people who actually have friends still do that. Do they? I don't know. I don't have friends, so I don't know. And basically, what else would I do my sophomore year? Oh yeah, I would walk home every day listening to 808s and Heartbreak by Kanye West, so I could feel like someone understood my pain and what I was going through. And I guess he sort of did, so that was nice. That made me feel like I wasn't, the only lonely person in the world. But yeah, sophomore year of college was pretty much one of the loneliest years of my life, honestly. Like I'm still really lonely now, but that year in particular was pretty rough. At this point, it's not even an issue of my social anxiety anymore. Like I still have social anxiety, yes, but I'm not even really meeting people at this point. So it's just another level of loneliness because I'm not even getting the opportunity to meet people. And this was at a point where like I really wanted to overcome my social anxiety, and I felt like I could. I was feeling confident about myself, and it just didn't feel like there was any opportunities for me to do so. And that kind of just made me slowly sink back into that, despair and hopelessness and all that terrible stuff. And so my junior year last year, now we're getting close to present day. My junior year, like I am pretty much doing more of the same. First semester, I got this one internship where I was an event staff member for sporting events at Syracuse. And again, it was just more of the same, like meeting acquaintances, but not actual friends, not people who were looking for more friends, and I thought maybe I could meet some friends doing that, and it just didn't happen that way. And I quit that internship after like 2 months or so, and it was just more of the same, honestly. Like it was just more not meeting people, not making friends. And so now I'm going to get to what's been perhaps one of the most devastating parts of my experience. Last semester, getting in 2020, I had the amazing opportunity to go study abroad in Florence. Like when you're a college student, a lot of college students, they look forward to study abroad their whole college time, from when they're a freshman to like, whether it's their second semester junior year or their first semester senior year, they look forward to study abroad. And for me, it was no different. I was so excited about study abroad. I was so excited to be, because I had heard from so many people that it was like, it's the best semester of your college life, and it's going to be amazing. And I thought, wow, this could be an opportunity to meet people. Here I go again, thinking, okay, I'm going to meet people, I'm going to make friends. And guess what? It happened. Briefly. Let me explain. I get there, I get put in I stay in an apartment basically with a host family, and I get one roommate. And this was an absolutely fantastic host family that I had. It was, host mom, host dad, two brothers who were, both in their 20s like me. And I had this roommate who was also, a really, down-to-earth, low-key dude. The roommate was from Syracuse, obviously. And he was just a really cool dude. And we quickly, I felt like we're starting to develop a friendship. Like, because we were, even though I dealt with social anxiety at first and I was scared to talk to any of them. Like, once I got comfortable and kind of had to force myself into that environment and just, learn to talk to those people, it quickly became like a really nice, comforting environment for me. And I really felt like I was starting to make a friend with this roommate of mine. And so there was this one other person I met on study abroad who was also a really cool person, one of like the warmest, most welcoming, accepting people I've ever met. and they were welcoming me with open arms. So I felt like, okay, wow, I've got two people here now who I can be really close with and I can really get along with. And everything was going so well, and I was starting to have plans to actually hang out with this roommate of mine. And this was about 6 weeks in, and we were about to start really, hanging out, and it felt like we were really starting to get along and develop a friendship. And then COVID. Coronavirus pretty much ruined everything for me. Everything that I had built up to after years of loneliness, after years of struggling to make friends, I was finally starting to do it. I was finally really starting to make a friend. This felt like a legitimate friendship, like I was opening up and being very honest with this. I mean, I don't know what I'm saying. I was being very open with this person and very friendly, and he was being he was reciprocating. There was this other person who was starting to reciprocate, friendliness with me, and I felt like, wow, I have two people here, right here, that I'm gonna be really good, get along really well with. And coronavirus happened. We all got sent home out of the blue once like the first case appeared in Florence. And at that point I didn't lose hope yet, because I thought, okay, at least when we get back to Syracuse after, like, we were supposed to do a 2-week quarantine once we got back from Florence, and then we'd be able to go back to Syracuse. And I thought, okay, once I do that, I'll go back to Syracuse for the rest of the semester and I'll hang out with these two people again. And then coronavirus, again, ruins everything and explodes in the United States. And all of a sudden, the rest of the semester gets moved online. Not going to be able to hang out with these people. Okay, I'm still not losing hope, because next semester, which is now this semester, I'm going to be able to hang out with these people, and, I message them and I tell them, hey, yo, let's hang out next semester. And they seem to reciprocate that, and I was feeling hopeful. So I just felt like, okay, I just got to grind it out for the next few months, and then I'm going to get to hang out with these people, and finally I'm going to have people I can get along with. And it just hasn't really worked out that way, which is where I'm at now. It's now October of 2020, first semester of my senior year, and I have seen those people a combined one time this semester. One of them has already ghosted me. The other one, I think, is starting to ghost me. So, yeah, that's where I'm at, which is why I currently have 0 friends. This last month or so has really been pretty devastating for me, because I really felt like those two people were going to be the two people that were going to, help me escape this situation that I've been in all these years. And, for it to start to feel like it's not going to work out that way, it's been pretty devastating, and I'm starting to feel like I'm heading back into that sunken place again. And that's just been a very tough feeling for me to deal with. And it's kind of what inspired me to make this video, because now I feel like, I need to tell my story. I need people to hear what I'm going through. I need to speak out about this, because I really feel like I have no one to talk to about this stuff right now. And so, I'm just using this platform, and I'm hoping that people can hear me out, and I want to know if people are going through similar stuff, and, maybe I can talk to them about it, because I'd love to be able to talk to people who are going through a similar thing. Maybe that would help. When I think about it now, I feel like maybe I was putting a little too much weight on the shoulders of those two people to help me be happy again. And I don't feel mad at those people if they don't want to talk to me anymore. Like, obviously I'm hurt by it, and I'm really disappointed, but I feel like what I've learned is maybe I just have to find that happiness myself, and maybe I'm going to meet that group of friends sometime soon, and I just got to keep pushing forward. I'm still remaining optimistic, though. That's the good news. Like, I'm still optimistic at the end of the day, because I feel like I've come a long way from where I was, even just like a few years ago, in terms of overcoming my social anxiety and just learning to be myself and love myself and accept myself. And even after all this pain I've been going through all these years, I still feel like I'm going to find that group of friends one day. I also discovered recently that I'm actually an ENFP personality type, which is one of the extrovert personality types after, you know, years of thinking that I was an introvert. So, what I've learned is like, wow, I actually do enjoy talking to people and I really enjoy getting along with people and meeting new people. It's just that my social anxiety has been holding me back all these years. And that was a very confusing thing for me to discover, being an extrovert but having social anxiety. But now I feel like I'm starting to overcome that social anxiety and I'm starting to get better at talking to people and meeting new people. And even though right now I don't have that group of friends, I feel confident that I'm going to be able to do it soon because I've become so strong and so, you know, I've started to just love and accept myself and be more open with people. So, yay me, pat on the back, right? I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. If you're one of the people who's talked to me over the years, at least like a little bit, feel free to reach out to me because, I still need people to talk to and maybe make friends with. I don't know. I know that there's people out there who are going through the exact same adversity that I'm going through, or basically the exact same adversity. And I just want to say to those people, I really hope you get through this. And we're going to get through this together because we're strong, right? And if we just believe in ourselves and we just believe in who we are as people, and one day we're going to find that group of people who accept us, and that's the beauty of it. So spread the love.